Okay, so yesterday we saw all the basic commands on the Docker side, right? Starting from the installations, and we saw how we can pull the image and with different tags, and how we can create containers into the different ports, and how we can copy the file to a running container and check the logs, and how we can enter inside a container. Okay, all these things also we saw about a little bit about the networks and the volumes. So the volumes is not yet covered. So today we'll cover the volume part. What I'll do today, we'll cover the volume part. Also, we'll morely talk about the Docker registry. Also, we'll start creating our own image. Okay, whatever image we have worked so far is all about the default image which we got from the registry. Now we'll create our own image, the inbuilt, not the inbuilt one. We'll create our own image. Okay, so most of the things actually in in a company, in an organization, what happens? You people have to create your own image. Okay, so I'll show you and guide you step by step how you can create your own image based on your requirement. I'll just give you a scenario, and then we'll create that image based out of the requirement and the scenario. Okay. So yesterday we first pulled out the image and started the container. So if I check the images list, right? Images list, we have only one image available. Okay, so when we execute the Docker run command, Docker container run command, what will happen? The Docker run command will create a container out of the image specified, right? So suppose the image is not available locally. Let me delete this one. So what is the command to delete the Docker command? It is Docker. What is the command to delete an image?
Docker RMI.
Yes. So you can use Docker RMI, okay, and the image name, and the image name, and this is the previous version of the command. Okay, the old one, old method, and the new method is you have to use Docker image RM, and then provide the image ID, or you can provide the image name, the repository name, and the tag. Okay. So if you hit enter, what happened? Okay, sorry, I just came out from the login. Yeah. So what we can do here, Docker image RM, hit enter. Okay. So this is obviously what it says. Conflict, unable to delete this image, cannot be forced. Image is being used by running container. That means if a container is running and is created out of the same image, you cannot delete the image. Even it cannot be forced also. Okay, sometimes you can forcefully delete it. So what you have to do, first you need to delete the container and then delete the image. So what I can do here, first check the Docker container ls. Okay, so the old, this is the new method. Okay, this is the new command, Docker container ls. The old one is Docker ps. Docker ps, it will show us in the running container list. So I don't need this. Let me delete this one. Okay. So what I can do, Docker RM is simple. RM is the old one, but I'll just give you the new one. Is the container management command, then RM, and then use the container ID. Okay. So we can use the container ID here. So what happens here? Again, what it says cannot be removed because the container is already running. So, and the ideal ways you have to either forcefully delete the container using rm-f, using rm-f, Or what you can do, you can stop the container first. Okay, to stop the container, the command is stop container. Stop. To start a container, you can use container start. So when you are using container start, make sure the container should be available, right? So let me stop this one. Container is now stopped. So if I use the same rm command again, so it will delete it. See, it is deleted. Now let me just use docker container ls. So there are no containers available. And I can now also delete the image. If I hit enter, see the image is now untagged and deleted. If I do docker images or image ls, we don't have any image available. Okay, now if I want to create a container, the same image or any image, if I want to create the container, what will happen? Let's see. Suppose I just want the container to be created with specific version of the image. Like suppose I'll give docker container run, okay, -t, name virtue, or name if it's suppose I'll give webbuff, okay, -p, let's publish it to httpd, and suppose I'll get this one from the latest one. Okay, got it? So what will happen here? If I execute this one, what will happen? Let's see. What it does first, it is finding this particular image locally, means on this server where this command is being executed. So it is finding this particular image, whether it is available locally or not. So it did not find the image, okay, unable to find the image locally. Then what it does, it is pulling the image from the registry and then creating the container out of that. So if the image is not available locally, it first downloads or pull out from the registry and then create container out of that. Okay, so the thing is, if there's somebody asks you in the interview how the container works, if you execute a run container, how when you create the container, what is the process, how it works? So you can say simply, when we execute the docker container run command, it will first scan the images locally in the Docker server, and if it's not found, then it will download the particular image from the registry and then create container out of that. That is what we saw it. So that's why, guys, I'm just giving you complete details about Docker, how it works, and you need to understand fully. Then you'll be familiar with that, right? See, when I learned all these things 8 years before, or 7 or 8 years before, I was not that much familiar, right? With all these commands and with all these tools and all. So what I did, I tried to understand. I went to the depth and trying to understand how it works and what is the usage, whatever the things you are using, even in your life also, right? Without knowing the output of that, are you doing that? No. If it is required to be done for particular benefits, then you are going to do that one. Otherwise, you are not doing that. Similarly, what is the usage of that? What will benefits will get out of that? If you understand clearly, then in any situation, any circumstances, you'll not defeat. You can easily remember those things and can deliver the one. Even it is in interview or it is in your project work or in your personal work, anything. If you're familiar with that things, what you are doing is required for you. Okay. Now, what we did, we simply did all the things. Now, if I want to access this one, simply I can just get the IP address and put it here. It works. Okay. Now, what happens here? As I said yesterday in our last class, whenever our enterprise applications, this is the very demo class and demo exercises I'm giving you, right? Sometimes what happens, you have to run, not sometimes, in your organization, whenever you are working on a project, you are definitely will be deploying an application, and that application could be your enterprise applications and a big, any applications, and it will be writing the thousands of logs, right? Every day, every milliseconds, and there will be lots of data will be generating, lots of reports will be generating. Then how you will preserve those data? How you will preserve those data? Then the question is, why you need to preserve those data? It's because when the container exited or terminated accidentally or knowingly also, if you have not taken any backup or anything, what will happen? All the data generated by the container will be lost. You'll not get it back. So to overcome this problem, we have to preserve the data by using the Docker volume. So let's see. In our last class, I showed you how to work with the Docker, right? So the Docker management command. So it is Docker. So if I do the Docker management command volume is the management command here, Docker volume ls. So we don't have any volume available here. What I can do, I can create a volume. Suppose I'll do my vol, something like this, okay? And one volume is created. Now I did not specify anything. I did not specify anything here. Now, how we can see the details about this particular volume? We can use another command. It's called inspect to do the inspection. Inspect my volume. Okay, before inspect, let me do volume ls. So what we can see here, the driver, local driver, volume name is my volume. See, now we have one volume available in our local machine. But how you know which particular drive or which particular path it is being mounted? That is most important, right? For that, you have to just use the Docker command. It's called inspect. Docker volume inspect, sorry, Docker volume inspect, and then volume name or the volume. Yeah, you have to provide the volume name, my volume. See, it gave us all the details about the volume, when it is created, what is the driver, what is the label, and the mount point. This is where all the container data will be saved and preserved. Even though the container is terminated, we can have these data available here in this path. So let's do the demo. Now, what we can do, we have the container is running, right? We don't have anything available this container now. If the container is terminated, what will happen? It will, all the data will be vanished. All the data will be vanished, right? Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to just terminate the container now. I'm just going to terminate the container now. What I'll do here, I'll just do Docker container, okay, rm, and the container name. If the container name was given or container ID. So either you can give container name or container ID. Docker container rm. Okay, anyway, it is running now, so I can use -f. Forcefully removed. Okay, so what I can do here, let's recreate the same container. Recreate the same container, but this time we'll attach the volume. This time we'll attach the volume. So we have to write a big command here now. Docker container run -d. Okay, so -p h0:h0. Okay, Then you have to specify the, okay, I forgot to give a name, so I'll just give a name here, suppose solar, and you have to specify the volume. I can just use -v, and the volume name. What is the volume name? It is my vol, and you have to specify the path which you want to preserve, the path and the directory name where you want to preserve. Suppose I want to preserve from the root directory itself, from the root directory itself of the container. So what I can do, I can give the volume root directory. But it's something what happens, it will be a problem if I give root directory, everything from the root, it will be preserved. I don't need all those data. What I can do, I can give the application folder or application path where the application logs and the application data is being stored. That particular path you have to give it, right? So for when you create a container, that name, what is it will be for HTTPD, it should be supposed for user Apache to something, right? User leave Apache to something. Okay, let me just this time let me just create the container and let's see what is the default data. And let me go inside the container, and I need the data. I did not give the volume. Okay, I just need the data now this time. What I can do here, I just go inside the Docker container exit. Okay, and I can IT container name bin. Okay, so this is user local Apache queue. Okay, user local Apache queue. I need this part for this, right? That's why I use. Okay, now what happened? Let's execute this other command, and this time provide the volume -v my vol and provide the path here. 1 second, guys. Okay, so what we can do here, I just gave the volume name here and the path. Okay, volume name and the path here. So what will happen if you see my volume and just
Ranjit,
mounted?
hello.
Yeah, hello.
Ranjit, can we provide specific volume like 1 GB, 2 GB like this?
Yes. So no, 1 GB, 2 GB, we cannot do that. As a Docker, as I explained, right? It automatically shrink based on the resources you have specified. So what we have to do there, I will show you how we can configure that CPUs, how we can configure the storage and all those details. Okay. Hello.
Okay.
So they
No,
see. Okay. So you mean to
we
say?
are creating many containers, na? So I thought for a container we are providing specific basis.
Okay. No, no, specific usage. See, you cannot provide the storage details or particular. See, whenever you create my volume, suppose that particular volume should be related to that particular container. You cannot provide, see, even though you provide the same volume, what will happen? It will consume the resources of your laptop, of the server, where it is, the Docker is running. It will get the resource details from the Docker machine itself. You don't have to explicitly set up. You don't have to explicitly set up. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. So what we can do here, if I hit enter, okay, anyway, see what happened, the container name OF is already in use by the container. So I don't need this container name, and the same name can be used. So already a name is there. So what I can do, I can just provide another name to this. Suppose web app 1. Web app 1. Again, we have to change the port also, right? The port is already being used. Now hit enter. Our container is now created. Our container is now created. So what we can do here? Now, the container, whatever we created, and the volume is attached to user local Apache 2, which is the root directory, which is the working directory of the container. All the data in the working directory will be preserved in this particular volume. Now, if I just go and just use this one, right? Colon so it will give us the same web page. Now, what will happen? Let's copy the index.html, whatever we had created, and it is available locally to the container. Can someone except Jyoti can tell me how to copy this particular file to a running container? Hello? Anyone remember how to copy this particular index.html file from the Docker server from the local machine to a running container? This will be definitely a question in the interview. No one? Okay, Jyoti, can you tell?
Yes, sir. So command is Docker container cp and the file name, then container ID colon the path where we want to copy the inside the container.
Yes, that's true. And Ranjit also was saying same thing, copy Docker cp command. Okay, so what we have to use? We have to use Docker container cp. Okay, Docker container cp. Okay, so what will you here? Just provide the file name, and to the container where you want to copy, just copy the container ID and give the path where you want to copy. Suppose I want to copy to this path, and htdocs is the directory of the web application of the Apache server, okay, where you install your web application or put your web application, right? So I can just hit enter. Now I just copied this particular index.html to the htdocs folder. If I refresh this page, see, we got this one. Now our file is copied, okay? So what I'll do here, our file has been copied now. And now suppose something happened and you terminated this one. So what will happen? All the container data will be removed. We cannot find it, our application, we cannot find our logs and everything. Okay. So how you'll see where the data are being copied. Now, when you inspect this volume, you could see the mount directory, right? So you can use Docker volume inspect volume name. So this is the path on the server where your container data will be stored, right? So what I can do here, just simply, I can just do cd, go to that directory. And if I do hit lsrt, see, everything from there has been copied to this particular mount path. This particular mount path, everything has been copied. Now, if I just want to see what this htdocs contain, this htdocs will contain the latest file which we copied. The latest file which we copied manually to the htdocs directory. See, we have the index file. If I do the cat and see the content, see, this is what the latest file have been copied. Okay, now let me terminate this. Let me terminate this container. Okay, so Docker container rm one. This is the one. Okay, so it says rm hyphen f. Okay, the web app one container is now terminated. So what I need, let's go there and check whether those direct data have been there or not. Okay, so what I can do here, let's go to that mount path. Yeah, see, all data have been here. The container has been deleted. Okay, the container has been deleted. If I refresh this, nothing will be there. The container, because the container is died now, it's deleted, terminated, right? So the data are still available locally in this server in the volume. If I go to htdocs folder, we'll have this index file available. Now, the container is terminated and you have to spin up another container with the same data. How will do that? This is a question for you. Anyone can answer. How will do that? I want the container to run with the same applications what was having the previous one. How will do that? Tell me.
Sir, we can copy the when we create the container, that time we can copy the file or directory to our container.
No, wrong, completely wrong. So anyone else? How we can get though? We have all the data available. I want the same container to be created with the same application, same data. How we'll do that? Just think, okay? That is what I always tell you guys. Whenever, whatever you are doing, think beyond that one. And you have to put your ideas, you have to put the logics, you have to think how we can achieve that one in multiple ways, not a single way. Don't ever select a single path, right? We should always know the how we can reach the destination in multiple ways. Try to get in your mind, try to get all these ideas in your mind. It's very simple, guys. If I say, if I tell you, then you'll think, yeah, that is the one. But it's very simple, okay? See, the first thing is the container is died. We lost everything, all the data, but the data have been preserved in a path, in a volume. So when I need the same container to run again, I have to simply attach that volume to the container. That's all, right? You have to simply run the container with the same volume, then our data will be available, right? What do we have to do? Simple, we have to execute this Docker. It's very simple, right? Docker container run -t name web app 1, suppose, or web app 2 I gave, and -p 8280, and the volume, my vol only, I have to attach this one. Okay, what I can do, put this one, user, sorry, user local Apache Cube. Okay, it's container created. Let's go ahead and refresh it. See. That's what I was telling you, right? To preserve the data, when a container is lost or died or terminated, everything will be lost. All the data inside the container will be lost. How we can? Yeah.
Sir, suppose we want to attach same volume to the another container. Can we do that or not?
Yes, we can do. Well, let's do that one. We can do.
We can do the multiple container also, same value.
Exactly. You can create multiple same application of the multiple container. What you can do, you can just simply use the port. Suppose we don't have the 83 port, right? Just 83, and just give a name to it. New container created. Okay. Now let me just whitelist the 83 port so that we can just access that new container with the same application, right? Okay. Whitelist this one. Edit in long road. Okay, 83. Now the firewall access has been given. Now let me just copy this one and put into the but 83. 83. See, we have this container 82 is running, and we have another container 83 is running with the same data, same volume attached. Understood, guys? How it will be beneficial whenever you are doing R&D and in your company, we have multiple people are working and for any kind of testing, you can create multiple container and they can start working. You can create the same image. You can create multiple containers, right? Got this point, guys? How we can do? And mostly to preserve this one, actually, we companies we use this one to preserve the application logs and application data is being generated by the Docker. Okay. For that, we need this volume. Okay. Any doubt, guys? Hope everything is clear on volume part. No, right? Now, what I need, let's go ahead and create our own image. Okay. In our Docker registry, right? Last class, I showed you this Docker registry, and we have this particular version. So we search any images, whatever. Suppose I need NGINX, search for NGINX, and we'll have this NGINX official image available for us to use, right? If I need any Tomcat server, I search for this Tomcat, and we'll have this Tomcat Docker official image. Any image which we need for official image to use, you can just search for it. But how I use our default, our own image in companies based on the requirement and scenario, you have to create your own image and you have to write the Docker file. Okay. So what is the Docker file? What is Docker file? It's very simple, guys. A Docker file is a text document that contains all the commands a user could call on the command line to assemble an image. Means we have to write a Docker file, or we have to write a recipe or the template to create an image in a Docker file. And the Docker file is nothing but a plain text file without any extension. And that file name should be treated as like this Docker file, D on uppercase, Docker file, one word. Okay, Docker file. Like in our Jenkins, we had the Jenkins file. We had the Jenkins file, right? Same thing here in Docker also, we have to create the Dockerfile. Okay, now it's very simple, and the Docker daemon runs the instructions in the Dockerfile one by one, committing the results of each instructions to a new image if necessary. Whenever possible, Docker will reuse the intermediate images from the cache to accelerate the Docker build process significantly. I told you in our last class that we have to run two objects, right? One build time object and another one runtime object. So image is the build time object. When we build a Docker file, it will create an image, right? Very simple things to build an image. You can to build a Docker file or to create an image, we can simply use Docker build -t. That means we are providing a tag here. We are providing a tag to the image. Okay, simply we can just provide this one and it will build our image. Even though you don't provide this one, that's fine. It will be created with a default name. Okay, now what is the Docker file and how you use it? We have this Dockerfile reference I was showing you in our last class, right? We can use this one, this particular reference, Docker docs.docker.com reference, and we'll have this file from a Dockerfile and all this, right? On the CLI commands and all. So if I go with this Dockerfile documentation, we have the complete details how you'll use the Dockerfile with examples. With all examples how we'll use it. And if you see the right hand side of this panel, of this page, we'll find all the commands which will be written in the Docker file, which will be written in the Docker file. Okay, now let me show you how we can write our own Docker file from the scratch. What we can do here, let me just run back. Seems there is some slowness. Okay, clear. Now we have, if I search for image, we have this only one image available. Now I have to create my own image. I have to create my own image. How I'll do that? And this default image, which one is available officially in the Docker registry. Now I want to create our own image with some different recipe, with some different instructions added to the image file or added to the Docker file, which is required for the container to run, right? So what I can do, I can simply use vi Docker file, one word without extension. Okay, I just use vi editor. You can use any editor as your choice, as per your choice. Okay, Docker file, and it should start from base image, from the base image. Okay, the format, if you go here, it will always start from the base image. And here we have this from. Okay, why we need to use this from? The from instructions initialize a new build state and sets the base image for subsequent instructions. That means we have to get the base image. From that base image, we have to add our instructions as per our requirements. As per our requirement. Suppose, let's think about a requirement. I have a PHP application, suppose. And I need that applications or HTML application, and I need that application to be deployed in a container, So how will do that? So for that, I need the Apache server first, right? I need the Apache server. So what I have to do, I have to just write from the base image. From the base image is our, suppose HTTPD is our Apache server, and I can just provide, suppose from the latest or any particular sorry. So from any particular base image, you have to provide it. Suppose I gave from httpd latest. From this base image, I need the next instructions to be executed. So I have to add another layers, more layers I have to add it. Okay. So what I need, suppose I need a particular file to be copied. I need the index file to be copied. Okay. I need the index file to be copied. Okay. Let me just go out from here and okay, so we are this. Okay. From httpd latest. Okay. Now I need the file, right? Copy. Sorry, we have to use in uppercase copy. Then we have to suppose I need the index.html file to be copied. Okay. So how the file will get copied? Suppose I'll give index.html because the index.html is in the current context. Is in the current context. So I'll just explain you what is the context and how you should be carefully work on the context area. This is very important to understand what is the context area and how you have to decide the context. Okay. Now I just put the index.html and I need this particular to be copied to the path, right? So I'll just put it user local. For Apache server, the default path is Apache 2 and htdocs. Okay. Here I want to copy this. Copy this index file to the htdocs folder. So what will happen here? I got this image one layer, the base image, and I just gave an instructions to copy this file to this particular path. Then, okay, now what I need, suppose once it is copied, I suppose need to start the server, HTTP server. So what I can do, I can use another command to start the server, but I'm not showing you this one now. And how you do that? We have run command to execute some commands here. Run command, okay. Lots of CMD labels, environment, add and copy and all these things, okay. Use your working directory, okay. Suppose what is working directory? I want to suppose set up some working directory, or you can to set up again. You can set up the volumes also. You can set up the volumes also. See, volume. You can suppose I attach my vol, and what will do? It will attach the my volume to the. You don't have to copy it. You don't need this one if you already have a volume and attach it there. But as a fresh from the scratch, I'm showing you without the volume. I'll show you how you can do that. Okay. Anyone, suppose I need something else to work. Suppose I need something which maybe some other commands which I can include in this part. I don't see anything available, all the commands which I need as per my requirement. Okay, fine. So this is not required. Leave it is at. So I need only one instructions given here. Now let's save this one. Okay, now let's save this one. I can just let's modify this index file little on bit to understand more on this. So it's a simple Dockerfile. I can modify this little bit. I can just give it's true and true. And what I can do here. So I can just give us like Dockerfile, Docker plus something like this. Okay. Got it. Let's read this one. So if you see, I was talking about the context area little bit before, like little or sometimes before. What is the context area? Where your Docker file is available. This could be a question, guys. Okay, be careful. What they'll say? What is the context area? You have to explain what is. What is the context area? Where your Docker file, in which path, which location your Docker file is available. That one will be your context area. That means anything available in this particular path, in this particular directory, everything will be packaged together to create an image. Okay, so be careful. Don't put any unnecessary things in the context file, context area where your Docker file is present to create the image. If you put a heavy video file or a heavy file or very big size file in this context area and which is not required for the image to be built, what will happen if you build that image? That particular file will be added to the image file and it will create the image heavy. Okay, a big size of image. So what you can do here, we have the Docker file created. We have this index.html is there. I need to build this one. So I can use Docker build -t. Suppose I give a name to this. Okay, Docker RNG. This is my suppose repository name. What I can do, and I can just slash, and I'll give like my app or my HR app, my HR app, and I'll give a version like 1.0, 0.1. Got it? And you have to put dot. What is the dot? Means the current context, current directory from where the Docker file is available. If your Docker file is present some other context area, context path, and you're executing the command from a different directory, you have to specify the lab path here using -f and provide the path to Docker file. Suppose this is the path where your Docker file is available. Okay, this is a path. This I'm just giving you an example. This path could be your own path you have to provide. As mine is in the current directory, current context, I just put it here, hit enter. See what happened here. It has 2 steps. Our Docker file had 2 steps. What happened here? We have our image is created. Our image is created. Now what I can do here, if I use Docker image, let's see. I gave it's a big name, but if you can give only single name, that should be fine. I gave a big name here, so don't worry. So you can specify this one nature app, okay, and the tag, and we have this image ID. Our image is created. Now let's remove all the containers which are running, and we'll create fresh container from our own image. This is our own image, right? We'll create container from this image. We have this container ls. Okay. Now, in our last class, I was showing if you have multiple defunct users and you don't need this, how we can delete those containers in one go. If you also have a 10 or 15 or hundreds of containers, you don't want to delete it, remove it. How will do? If you do one by one, it will be a big challenge, right? It will consume more time. So how will do that? Okay. So we have a command called, if I use Docker container, if we do ls, it will give you all complete details, right? If I do ls -, see what it gives. It gives only the container ID, not all the details. Okay. Now I need these particular 3 containers to be terminated. What I can do, I can just use help of the Linux command. I can just terminate this. Okay. Happen here. I have to just use one Linux command that is called xargs. Then use the Docker command again, Docker container rm-f. Let me explain this command. What it does, when we execute this command, what will happen? It will give us the container IDs. And the output of this container, this particular command, I am passing to, with this pipe, I'm just passing to this X argument command. Using this X argument, I'm just passing the output of this to this particular command. Okay, if I hit enter, see, it removed all this container. If I do docker ls-l now, nothing will be there. See, everything is deleted in one go. Everything is deleted in one go. We don't have anything is available now. So we have our own images, right? We have our own images. Now let's create container out of this image. Let's create container out of this image. What I'll do, docker container run -d, -name, web something like this. And I'll just give public this port 80:80. What I'll do, colon 1.0.1. Got it? Hit enter. So our container is now created, right? So if I do container ls, so our container is now running with this image. Our container is running with this image. So what I'll do here, simply if I go and check the container, right? Let's remove this particular 83. Hit enter. See, Dockerfile. And this image will be available, and we don't have to do anything. When we create any container from this image, from this particular image, all our applications will be part of bundled together in this image, and any number of container you can create in this image and the same applications will be available. You don't have to explicitly copy the applications or deploy the applications. Normally, what do we need in company? Whenever you deploy any applications, we have to bundle together to an image, and that image you have to use it for this one. Okay, now what I need, I want to put this my image to my registry. How I'll do that? I have already, as I already have told you guys, you have to register yourself into hub.docker.com and create your own Docker registry ID. I have already a Docker registry ID called Docker for Ranjit. Okay, I want, if I go to my registry, right? In my repository, I have seen this many images I have stored in my registry. This many, and few people have also downloaded this one also. Few people have also downloaded these images. Something for demo app, right? Now, what I need to push this one to my registry. How will do that? I can simply use, first I need to do a connectivity between this registry to my local machine, to my server, right? How will do that? I have to first log into the registry Docker login -username equal to, what I have to give? I have to give, suppose mine is Docker for Ranjit. Hit enter. You have to provide the password. Remember, when you register, you will have the password, right? So login is succeeded. I can see the login is now succeeded, right? So what I'll do now, I want to push this image. I have to push this image. So what I'll do, I can just use Docker push 1.0.1. Hit enter. So the push refers to the repository, this one. It is getting, see, got it? Now what I'll do here, if I go here and refresh my page, just refresh this page here, and I'll see here, see my HR app has been copied here, right? My HR app has been copied here. Similarly, here actually it's a big name, which is not a good way to give it. Now what I want, suppose, okay, anyway, this has been copied. Good, this has been copied. If any one of you want to go there and download and use this particular image, you can simply, what you can do, you can Docker pull and you can simply copy this one and do in your machine also and create the container, and you'll see the same application. You'll see the same application. And this is a task for you guys. Do whatever I have done. Try to pull down this image, go to Docker Hub Registry and search for this particular image name. Search for this particular image name. Suppose if you go to particular hub.docker.com and search for this image, my HR. Okay, it's not there. So if I search for my HR app, what is happened? Okay, anyway, it is only to my image only. So I'm not officially it's not verified and trusted and all these things, right? It is only privately available to your, not privately actually, it will be available to here. So it's not, okay, anyway, it is public only, but I think it will take some time to get available, and we can also download this particular image file and create container out of that. Okay, so a task for you, there are few more things, and it will take another one class to complete the Docker. We have the Docker Compose to run multiple commands, and we'll have a project where we'll do the complete setup of the applications. Okay. So that's all, guys, for today's class, and we'll meet up next weekend, and we'll complete the Docker with Docker Compose and the few other details, more important details pending on the Dockerfile. And it's a task for you. Just go and do build your own image, push it to your registry, and see how it is working. And you can also pull my image and whatever things. Try to do that one.